Who knows how it will happen? Maybe it will be quick enough for us to watch it happen right before our eyes. Maybe a meteor will crash into the earth and all of the volcanoes will erupt at once. Maybe an unstoppable plague will decimate the population, or technology will turn on the people who created it, or aliens will feel they are more entitled to this planet than we are. Maybe zombies will have something to do with it, or weapons, or wars. Or maybe it will be slow and unnoticeable. Maybe one day, in years and years and years, our world will be over, and there will be a new race of unrecognizable beings in our former homes. Maybe it won't happen at all. But if something does happen to this planet, you might be a little better prepared to deal with it if you've read some of these post-apocalyptic books about teenagers at the end of the world. And if the world stays the same, you'll still have read some of the most thrilling, suspenseful, thoughtful, and emotional new books of the past few years. Partials by Dan Wells. Before, there were 7 billion people on the planet. They lived all over the world in homes with their families who were related to them by blood. Before, electricity was cheap, 16-year-olds were still considered children, and new babies were born every day. Before, women could decide for themselves if they wanted to get pregnant. Before, the partials were weapons under the control of the humans who used them to fight human wars. Kiera hardly remembers before. The break happened more than a decade earlier when she was just a small child. All she's ever known is this world where the 36,000 human survivors who escaped to Long Island are probably the only humans, period. Where women are forced to become pregnant as soon as they turn 18. Where RM, the virus that killed almost everyone the war with the partials didn't, is still killing the babies born today. All the babies. No new babies have lived more than a few hours in more than 11 years. And the partials, the genetically engineered super soldiers designed to blend in, feel nothing, and kill humans, are still out there. No one knows when they might decide to finish off the humans who survived the first war. There are more than 1 million of them living right on the mainland, right across the water. 16-year-old Kiera is already trained as a medic, working to find a cure for RM. If she doesn't find one, all the humans will be dead in less than a century. That is, if they aren't killed by the partials or each other first. Monument 14 by Emmy Laybourne. In Partials, the world ended years before the events of the book took place. In Monument 14 by Emmy Laybourne, we get to see the apocalypse unfold right before the eyes of Dean, our 17-year-old narrator from Monument, Colorado. It starts with an unexpected hailstorm. The sky opens up and drops hailstones the size of watermelons on the cars driving to work, on the people walking on the street. On the bus Dean is riding to school. After a crash that kills its driver and more than half the kids, the bus explodes. Dean and his younger brother Alex take shelter in a nearby Greenway superstore. When the only adult around leaves to find help, the brothers find themselves locked in the building with 12 other kids. 5 other high schoolers, 1 other 8th grader, and 6 little elementary school kids. At first, the kids don't think they'll have to wait very long to be picked up by their parents. But hours go by. Their electronic devices are dead. The signal that keeps them connected to the internet at all times is gone, and they have no idea if anyone is coming for them. What would you do without your smartphones, your tablets, your laptops? Can you imagine how isolated you'd feel? How alone? How disconnected and uninformed? Alex, a technology whiz kid, manages to set up an old television connected to an old network, but the information the kids get from the news is not comforting. Earthquakes, tsunamis, millions of people across the country dead, and right near them, only a few miles away, a chemical leak at a government building is poisoning the air. Suddenly, the Greenway goes from a convenient place to wait for their parents to a safe and secure shelter from the horrors that the disasters and chemicals are causing outside. Inside the Greenway, Dean and the 13 other kids have food, water, clothes, medical supplies, books, games, furniture. They have everything they need and almost anything they could ask for. But outside, the world is ending. Their parents could be dead. And every day that goes by, the kids have a little less clean air, a little less food, and they're a little less safe. And it's only a matter of time before the outside world catches up to them. The Fifth Wave by Rick Yancey. Sure, tsunamis and earthquakes have wiped out a huge percentage of the country's population, and yeah, the air is being poisoned by some kind of chemical weapon, but the kids in Monument 14 have found a pretty sweet spot to weather the apocalypse. The kids in Rick Yancey's The Fifth Wave have no such luxury. No one knows what the aliens are doing here. No one knows what they want. No one even knows what they look like. And then suddenly, it's too late. It does not matter what they want or why they are doing it. The aliens are killing the humans, and the humans do not know what form each new attack will take until many of them are already dead. After 4 separate attacks that leave only a tiny fraction of the world's population alive, Cassie knows that there is nowhere safe. She knows that if she is not the last human left alive, then the fifth wave is coming, and that it will be as bad as the others. She knows that there is no one she can trust. She has 2 goals: find her little brother Sammy and stay alive another day. But it turns out Cassie is not the only human left. There are others still alive, which means the aliens are not done killing them. Ben Parrish is living in a very different post-apocalypse than Cassie, but he has his own reasons for trusting the people he does and making decisions he would never have made in his old life. Every page is a plot twist, every scene a different understanding of who is good and who is evil in this broken and chaotic new world. Who can we trust? Who is telling the truth and who is lying? Who is working with the wrong people? Who can we root for to accomplish their goals, and whose success will lead to the total annihilation of the last few humans left on Earth? Every page you'll ask yourself the same questions, but you won't be able to answer any of them until almost the end. This book has everything: action and suspense, mystery and romance, imagery and emotion, real, raw, relatable characters. This is a fantastic read. The Hunt by Andrew Fukuda. Cassie questions whether she is the only human left alive after the aliens end the world. The 17-year-old narrator of Andrew Fukuda's The Hunt is sure he is the last one. In this world, people doesn't mean human anymore. The normal people, his neighbors and classmates, his teachers and the government officials, are the super-fast monsters who melt in the sunlight and never frown, laugh, or smile. These are not forgiving vampires, and they do not feel conflicted about killing and eating humans. If you were to run into one on the street at night, he would not fall in love with you. He would not give you a chance to be his friend. He would tear you up in moments. He would kill his best friends if it meant a few less bites out of their mouths and a few more into his. The narrator has been hiding in plain sight in the society for his entire life, scrubbing his human scent away each morning, carefully controlling his facial expressions, and pretending he is one of them, just as hungry for blood and flesh as they are. Since the only other human he ever knew, his father, died a few years earlier, he has been completely alone, and sure that the human race will exist in the world only as long as he does. But then one day, everything changes. The government announces that they have a group of young heppers, that is, humans, in captivity, and a lucky few will be chosen by lottery to hunt them and eat them. Of course, our narrator is only one of a handful of people selected to participate in the heifer hunt. He has survived his whole life by laying low and blending in, and suddenly he's thrown into the spotlight. People will be paying attention to him. People will be expecting him to run as fast as everyone else, to sleep and eat and smell like everyone else. They will be expecting him to lust after the blood of the world's last human children, to chase them and kill them and devour them the way everyone else wishes they could. And if he does not, they'll figure out what he is, and they will kill him in seconds. This is an incredibly interesting and unique book, equally exciting and mysterious and funny and terrifying. The protagonist is smart and resourceful and funny, but this is a dangerous world. There are no sympathetic vampires. They are bloodthirsty and violent, and more than once this book will make you shiver with fear. Reboot by Amy Tintera. The narrator of The Hunt lives in constant fear of everyone around him. Ren, the 17-year-old narrator of Reboot by Amy Tintera, knows that no one is more dangerous than she is. When she was just 12 years old, she was shot in the chest and killed. Almost 3 hours later, 178 minutes later to be exact, she came back to life. But this isn't a world with drooling, moaning, stumbling, slow zombies. Here, there are reboots. Reboots think just like humans do, and sleep and speak and eat, not brains, and grow and age. But they are paler than they were in life, with bright, glowing eyes. They can't be killed unless their brains are destroyed, and their bodies heal from all wounds in mere minutes. They are faster, stronger, and less emotional than humans, and the longer they are dead, the deadlier they are when they wake up. Ren took 178 minutes to reboot, longer than anyone else ever has. Reboots are the property of the Human Advancement and Repopulation Corporation, and part of her job is to capture or kill the people the HARC tells her are causing trouble in the city. Her other job is to train new reboots to be perfect soldiers, as aggressive and obedient and detached as she is. As the highest number and undisputed most valuable reboot HARC controls, Ren gets first pick of the newbies who need to be trained. Usually she chooses only the highest numbers. Usually she chooses only the best. But when Callum, who is dead for a short 22 minutes, asks her to train him, something about the way he still smiles at everything makes her agree. As Ren probably should have guessed, Callum is awful. He is slower, weaker, less obedient, more human than any reboot she has ever known. But as she tries to force him to fit into the only life Ren thinks it is possible for reboots to have, Callum begins to show her just how much she is still able to care about others, about the world, and about her own future. Callum is charming, funny, and endearingly stubborn. Ren is a shy, thoughtful teenager who also happens to be an unparalleled badass. Together, they tell an exciting, emotional, relatable teenage apocalyptic zombie story that will have you flying through the pages and rooting for the Walking Dead. These characters and this story will stick with you long after you've finished reading about them.